Welcome to the next episode of Comedy Guy. This is my third day in the row doing 3 podcasts in a row. And this time I am back with my friend Martin Juna, and we are here to talk about, surprise, surprise, comedy in Estonia. Hey, you see how I worked it in? Performing jokes inside of the Republic of Estonia, not comedy Estonia per se. Good, Martin. How you doing, man?
Good. I think good and bad.
Oh, good and bad. Next, he's a man of mystery.
Yeah, you never know which one is it. But yeah, I just came back from Denmark from an improv festival. That was fun. Did everything I expected. Got to learn some new things. Got away from the Estonian improv bubble. And I learned something, and kind of ignited my passion again. So,
a little international trip got you fired up again.
Yeah,
okay, are they pretty open there? Could you do?
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. Okay. You didn't need to wear masks. You could go to the public transport and all of that thing. But yeah, when I see good artists, I'm not jealous. I'm fired up. I'm I want to do it too.
Hell yeah.
And I'm how? I'm analyzing and I get.
How many days were you there?
7.
Okay, that's quite long.
Or maybe 9, because 7 days was festival, but I arrived 1 day earlier and left 1 day later.
Okay, so it was a whole festival. So there were different shows, and did they have some other international, larger performers coming and doing keynotes or something?
There was people from Canada, from America.
Nice.
Only those countries actually.
Okay. Were you doing workshops, or did you do any? Or were you participating in any of the shows yourself?
I did. There was a 4-day workshop which ended with a little show. I did that one, but other than that, just watched and did the workshops.
That's cool. So you think it was worth your while?
For sure.
Nice.
Definitely.
So you're fired up. You got some inspiration. You've seen. Did you learn anything? I don't know, when you're talking to international performers and how their scenes are and how they're doing, and did you get some, not just, wow, I'm fired up to be a better improver, but learn something from their scenes and what they're doing?
Yeah, I think the Copenhagen guy, Stefan, who runs the theater there, he's doing it quite nicely. He quite successful, at least as me as an outsider. I view that he's done a good job. So I pick few things from him, how he organizes things, how he sets up his shows.
Are they a crew, sort of a group of them as such, or is it him being independent, or?
He runs the theater with a couple of people, but they're how you have Comedy Estonia comedians, they have their own improvisers.
As you have Ruutukuma comedians.
I have the same thing. But how do they run their shows, and how does he sell them? And he has own little theater in downtown.
How many seats?
50.
Okay, it's nice. Yeah. It's a nice amount.
Yeah, so he can sell drinks and do workshops there, and
that's interesting, because I've wondered so much over the years about a dedicated comedy venue and how does it work. And now we've got Heldeka in Tallinn, which is doing such a thing, a dedicated comedy venue, 50 seats. But the reason I've never thought to run a venue myself is, first of all, I don't want to sell drinks. I want to tell jokes. I don't want to pay rent. I don't want to run a venue. I want to do the shows, not that part of it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that by taking a venue, you have to do something there all the time. And that doesn't fit the Comedy Estonia pattern, because we do open mics, sure, but we do them in different areas. What we've talked a lot about, we do theater shows, we do different things, where I can imagine maybe if you're just in a bigger town like Copenhagen, you can be improvers, you can do your improvisation, 50 people a night, 4 nights a week, I'm going to assume, or something like that. And that could be a nice thing for you. How do you feel his business is going?
I think it's going good. Of course, now it's Corona, so I think everything is a bit set back. If we take the festival, for example, even one of the main instructors couldn't come because she fell ill. All this organizational hustle, I think, that work has doubled than it used to be. But yeah, I think another thing that he does really well is like corporate workshops, selling for these selling workshops with higher money.
Okay, for companies, so doing a workshop over half a day,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, we've already had a few companies have approached us. Hey, can you give a workshop to and it's been both times or the few times, our marketing department. You know, they're not going to be comedians, but they're our marketing department. Can you give them some tips on comedy? And actually, Carl does that. Carl's done a few of those now. We'll go for a few hours and talk to them about comedy and talk to them about stuff like that. I wouldn't say we're experts in it. I wouldn't say, but we're seeing it a little bit. I could imagine that if you put together an offering around that there would be a few bites onto that hook.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is, I remember one talk that like you can ask more money from them. And but how much more? And there was like, since Copenhagen is such an international place, sometimes like the company flies, like if, for example, I live in Estonia and I work for that company, they pay my plane ticket, they pay for my hotel, and like how much does this all cost for one person, like to come to this whatever this company is doing, and like you can get the idea of the money they are spending just to get people in there.
Right. That if we're here in Estonia kind of fucking scratching out our living. Will you please hire us to come to your company and do something? And then, you take a step up into the outside world and a plane ticket, no factor.
Yeah.
A hotel, no factor. Oh, we got to fly you in, pay the hotel. That's normal. Of course, we're a big company. We expect. Why would you even ask us this?
Yeah, they spend like thousands of euros for one person to come there. Like, so you can ask way more than you would normally ask people.
Sure, it's not a big thing. I'm doing that. I'm trying to... I already get a few international hosting gigs. I was in Vilnius last week. I've done different things. Before pandemic, things were going really well. And then pandemic came. And I want to make a more of a... Like I want to sell myself more as a host to European conferences. And yeah, I understand for them to like the hotels and the flights, it's really not that much for them to bring. For a good host that they can guarantee and all that, it's not that much extra for a big company to do that. So that's actually something where we're at maximum capacity right now. So it's something that I need to hire somebody else. I need someone to do research, to find event companies, to identify the top 10 or 15, let's say, I don't know, event companies in Germany, and then identify them and then send them my CV and then, hey, is this something you might be interested, or, just to do that and do that over, I don't know, 10 European countries or something.
What I'm wondering, if you get the job and you do it and they don't like it, what happens then?
We just come into the point of this episode. Martin wants to talk about what happens when the customer, be that it could be in the audience of a show, or it could be at a private event when you've been hired to perform or do a service in some way or another, and the customer's not happy with that in something in the end. Okay, so did you want you kind of broke it down. Did you start with public shows? Was that a thing?
Let's start with public shows.
Okay, sure. So people buy a ticket, they come to see an event.
Yeah, they don't like it. I think this is like the minimal effect. They probably won't come back.
Sure.
But like,
are you talking about a specific example here of a public route to Kuma show?
Yeah, in public, like there hasn't been a case where someone like doesn't like it at all, so he gets offensive against us or writes bad. Like we don't have, but we have this. Maybe somebody wants to order us. He comes to see some show. Most of the cases they like it, but a few cases they don't like it. So
okay, but you're getting into private shows.
Yeah, but then it's going to the private shows already.
Okay,
but like public shows, I don't. Yeah,
mostly okay.
Mostly okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what. Actually, this is the second time today I've told this story that we had. I think once or twice we've done the Pärnu concert in Maya, Sometimes when the bar and the theater isn't available, because the concertima is a bit bigger than I want it to be, but okay. And one time, I think it was the first time we were there, and it's one of those times when I know we go to a new place and I see people turning up to our show in suits. And this is the one where I'm like, oh, you think this is theater.
Yeah.
Oh. And I remember, that's right, twice we've done part in the concertima. The first time was almost sold out, but people came dressed very formally, very nicely. And I was like, oh, okay. And the second time we were there for whatever, I forget what the two tours were. The second time, less sales, which were like, oh, less sales. But when I stood in the lobby and watched people, they weren't formal. They were more young people. They were hip. They were down with it. And I think objectively it was a better show. So we didn't mind in the end that there was less sales, because they were like, we kind of understood they were our fans. But I think it was from that first show, we had a person contact us, and she said that she was in the audience. She sat there. She admitted she was physically at the show, and she said that she believed that we were playing laughter through the speakers.
What?
She claimed that we were playing like a laugh track. Now, we all know a laugh track on TV. In a sitcom, it needs to be there, or in a comedy special, maybe you play with the volumes a little bit, who knows, to get the right effect. She was in the fucking audience and claimed that we were piping laughter through that. And it's so like, and she's like, I want a refund. And we were like, no, bitch, you're not getting a refund. No, that's so hilarious. And I wonder, is it like she didn't like it and her grasp of bending reality was so strong?
I think so, because that's how we are.
She refused to admit that other people must have liked it.
We have a belief and we justify things around it that it will fit the belief.
Yeah, so strongly that I refuse to believe that all those, I can fucking see them laughing in front of me. I'm right there.
Oh my God.
So I don't think, not so much have we had disgruntled people over the years.
I also think like Estonians might be more, what's the word?
Reserved. They maybe don't want to speak up. Sure, they didn't. And that's also, I mean, you could also say, is that Estonians being shy, or is that just like people being fucking reasonable?
Yeah, sure.
I buy a ticket for something, I didn't like it. All right, cool. I just won't go to see that band act, performance.
Yeah. I went to order a dinner. Didn't like it. I'm not getting a refund of it. Like,
just don't dine at that restaurant again. I think it just means people are reasonable.
Yeah. And then there comes a guy who like, I didn't like this food. Fire the cook.
I want my money back. Okay, we'll regurgitate the food and we'll give you your money back. So, okay, if people don't like a public show, sometimes, I mean, do people go on Twitter? I would say Comedy Estonia has faced very little public backlash for almost any reason. When it was probably about, I want to say about 3 or 4, maybe more, maybe 6 months ago, I forget. It was a COVID thing, and someone in the newspaper tried to write an article like, Comedy Estonia is doing these events and people aren't wearing masks and putting I think it was around summer tour time, putting so many people in a room. And it was published in, not in the newspaper, but at least online in one of Delphi Postumus, whoever, I'm not saying where it was, I can't remember. And at first that obviously freaks you out to see that there's a piece and it being published, and that journalist fucking has it in for you. They're like, we're going to write this piece. And of course that fires us all up in the office and all the comedians. And I said, just let it go. Like, do not respond. Just let it pass. If we do not respond, it won't become a bigger thing. And it didn't now, because I felt like if we got like, that's not us and we're doing, but we were just following the regulations. We did all that shit. It would fire up, right? That's what everybody wants. I said, just ignore it and the news cycle will pass. And if no one else gets fired up and no fucking social justice warriors get on the case, we're clear. And that's what happened. Turns out the next thing. So there's a bit of, don't overreact to public statement. Look, if something happens and picks up, absolutely. You're going to have to address it at some stage. So Have you had any like public?
Public, no. I can't remember any cases. Although we are not as big and we don't have that many audiences too. So I think like with the audience growth, like you'll get more of those people. So for example, like there was in Facebook, he posted when Ari was doing, maybe I don't know if he's still doing his tour. From Estonia posted a video, an example of one of his bets, and there are like I'm like eyeballing or from memory like over 200 like likes and laugh faces you can put and 4 comments, and the 4 comments are like, this is shit. The only people who comment are the ones who didn't like it.
Yeah, this happens all the time. We get all the people that are sitting at home, they're corrupting the culture and they said this and they said that. Well, I mean, online, to me, that's like no factor. I don't even think about that. Probably the largest controversy was when not right now in the end of October restrictions coming in, but when we first opened up, whatever, a few months ago, and we published the thing and it was a picture of Ari and it said COVID safe, and we're like, look, we're vax only because that's what the fucking government says, and we're doing tests at the venues because that's what the government allows us, and then everyone firing up and blah and all of this, and for us we were just like, yeah, expected, and also thank you for poking the algorithm and getting that picture further, like, great.
If you comment or like or share, then it gets further reaches.
And there was no factor for us. Like, yeah, okay, you're firing up, and then the commenters who are like, but this is like, we as Comedy Estonia should be taking a stand against the government. Yeah, you know who took a fucking stand against the government? Sparta Gym. Now I go to Sparta. I love Sparta. Those dudes are hardcore there, and they didn't close, didn't lock down, didn't do nothing. And third of us I met eventually took him to court, and from what I understand, it was about 10 grand that they were down for with a fine. So look, I'm not saying the government, I'm not smoking in the band that the government's going to catch you in the end, but the government's going to catch you in the end. So we were not prepared to take a stand against the government. No, we were just trying to do what they say. So if people want to...
Yeah, there were people, take a stand against the government. Like, you pay the fine.
No, I don't have a lawyer. Like Sparta, as I understood, also had a very good lawyer, very aggressive lawyer. There was like, it was meant to be like a big thing. This is our thing, and we've got a very aggressive lawyer who's going to do this. And we don't have aggressive lawyers. Our lawyers are like a golden retriever. Like, okay. Okay, so public shows not too bad. We're pretty okay with that. We kind of understand. Also, there is the factor of like, just before we move off public shows, like, you want to come and criticize us, like, oh, you're going to criticize a group of comedians. Guess what we're going to do? Make fun of you, motherfucker. Like, that's what we're going to do. What did you think was going to happen? Like, yeah, if there's some valid thing, we're going to try and look at it and respect you. But if you're a crazy person, guess who you just emailed? A bunch of comedians. You emailed a bunch of comedians with your crazy ass thoughts, and you thought that nothing would come back at you, that we wouldn't have a funny remark.
But what about if you did a show, let's be in public shows still, and it went bad.
Sure, can happen.
It can happen. What then? I'm like guessing there's still no refunds for the audience. I don't know if it's free or with a ticket, but as a company, like what else can we do?
We'd have to look and, first of all, try to take a detached view and some sort of analysis, a little bit mini investigation. How do we think the show was? We're fairly reasonable at self-analyzing because we're a group, so we can analyze one another. So we would want to self-analyze and say, okay, we understand there's ups and downs of shows. Some shows good, some shows not. But was it bad? Like, did the comedians do their jokes? Now, they can do their jokes and they can be off rhythm or they're not hitting the style at the time or something. But was there something really... Now, that's a little bit different for us because we've almost got the stand-up script. Where... So do we think that we at least did the material? Did we do material for them? Now, if we delivered material and just for whatever reason they didn't like it, then we're like, no, because we did the show for you. Now, if there's different circumstance, now if all of a sudden Dan was drunk and he went off on some anti-Semitic rant, then okay, we're going to, try to take that into account or something. Or if there was some other circumstance that something fucked up and, I don't know, the tech or the light or something happened in the middle of the show. Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think about those things?
I totally agree. Because like even in improv, like we have certain set of like rules that, for if I make a very random example, like nobody took their pants off, or like we're like, keep your pants on.
That's the rule. That's why I can't go to Rutakuma, guys. Sorry. That's why I don't see Lewis doing improv.
Taking his pants off. Like, we got rules.
I was ready to come. I came there pants with around my ankles, and Martin went, you're not getting on the stage tonight like that, buddy boy.
But yeah, like if nothing that but yeah, as an artist, or you watch the artists or comedians, like sure, there are like times when everything flows better and times when they don't. Also, I feel it it's so affected from the audience. Like if you have like few people who scatter around, the show feels worse than it actually is.
Okay. So the setup, obviously, okay, the venue and the setup and how they're laid out and the vibe, and is the bar making a friggin' noise and stuff, and the distractions, and so all that can
that factors in,
make a big impact. I guess the other one might be we randomly get like, oh, Comedy Estonia shows are too dirty. Yeah, fine, but I think you might be a prude. I don't know. I was like, dirty, but did they have jokes? Like, as long as those comedians had jokes, I'm like, okay, did they say fuck, cunt, fuck, nonstop?
Yeah, I think it also depends. Like, is it an open mic or a ticket show?
Okay, big thing, absolutely, sure.
Because like dirty in an open mic where the comedian is learning, is also like I think some people might not factor in this thing.
Right. Okay. So we try to say it's an open mic. Who knows? And we have the Comedy Estonia mantra, which we have had since the early days. I remember us standing on the balcony at what's that, outside of Privé, named after the little bird. Oh, I forget anyway. That balcony at Privé, doing open mics there, and the motto was "Fuck you, free show." You don't have a problem? Fuck you, free show. Did you pay anything? Fuck you, free show. That's
he's paying his time.
right. And we don't say that to the audience so much anymore, but that's our mantra. Fuck you, free show. But ticketed show, fine. Yes, we accept that. And we're pretty good at self-policing with the quality. And, if we do have a down night, it will get corrected very quickly. Well, why is that set or those persons on that show when that's not killing? But okay, we're dancing around the topic here. Yeah. The real one comes down to private events.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
So again, for people listening, private event we broadly define is when someone hires us to come to their party, company event, birthday party, fucking kids christening, whatever it might be. They pay us to do a show, and I define it as when it's a closed event, when people cannot buy a ticket. It is a party for a group of people.
A random person can't come to this show.
Right. That's the idea. So that's a little different. So people are writing, they're saying, hey, I've got this company party, this birthday, this conference, this, I don't know, any sort of thing. Can we get a comedian? Can we get comedians to do a set? Can we get a host? Can we get something to do that?
So yeah, I can in Rutukymme's experience, I can. It's weird when I say Rutukymme, I say it like I have an English accent. Rutukymme, not Rutukymme. But yeah, we have I think there are three cases. So if the show goes bad, if I talk about payment things, will they get a discount? Will they get a full refund, or nothing happens? We have done all of those three things, but usually like we send an invoice after the event has gone. So yeah, there have been cases like, we know it didn't go so well, but I guess we'll still send an invoice. There was a case when we felt like, oh, this was full shit, and we said like, you know what, we ain't gonna charge you anything.
Did the customer agree with that? Because we have a lot of times that we think is shit, and the customer's like, yeah, it's fine. We had a good time. What's the problem?
In that particular case, I think the customer agreed. But it was like an online show.
Oh, well, okay.
And like so many things went wrong. First, like there was like a 30-minute delay, and that was actually from their part. I think like they organized all the connection things, and then the platform didn't work, and then we're like, all right, let's do a show. Turn on your webcam so we can see you. And nobody turns it on. Right, and then another thing happens that everything like it just didn't work. They were like,
okay, so online show, it's definitely so why is an online show harder? Because there's many technical things, and online is dog shit. So that lends itself to the idea that is a fault of the setting, of the environment, of the place, not like your act as such. But that's important, right? That's important when booking a private show, because we as the providers of the service need to analyze this and need to find out your venue, your demographic, the size of people, what tech setup. We have like Christina, when she's doing our private show sales, I mean, the list is like 20 questions, like at least like of how many people are in the audience? What's the setup? What's the event? Who are these people? Where are they coming from? What's happening before? Is there a host? All kinds of these things, and people must read these questions and be like, what the fuck, who cares about this stuff? But all these little things can make a difference. So, okay, so that was an online one went very bad, but okay. I mean, it's hard to do online, so we get that.
Yeah, but yeah, we also like, I have a list of things that that need to be organized correctly, that raises the chances of a very good performance, so makes us life easier, because like all of those points have come with like we didn't just think up of them. We did a show and we're like, all right, people shouldn't eat at the same time we perform.
Yes.
And like, yeah.
And not only that, we're going to need the staff at the catering staff to not walk around.
Yeah.
It's not enough that they have to stop or mostly have finished eating. If they're finishing off their things, I don't even mind that. If they're at the end, like the last bites or whatever, don't even mind that. But then the problem is the staff cannot come and take the plates away, because that's a distraction.
Yeah.
At the same time. So even little things like that.
Yeah. And yeah, there are like more of those things. So now we like, with an experience, we already know how to avoid those things. And if we know like some things that can't be avoided, like how can we play around it, or like that it doesn't affect. But yeah, when they first happened, like now comes the bitter pill, I guess, or not so sweet candy. Like, all right, it was a shitty show. What do we do with that?
So now we've got to analyze it, though, because I think on a case-by-case basis, we've got to analyze why was it a shitty show. Now, it can be that everything was fine. We did our due diligence. We set everything up correctly. And look, our performance on the day was just shit. That absolutely can happen. It can be that out of nowhere, the CEO's 2-year-old started running through the audience, and that interrupted everything, or a million other things could go wrong. Or even after the list of 20 questions, you can still come in and go like, oh, this is gonna be shit. Like, I think the first one I did back after pandemic, I did a private show for some lawyers, and everything, the setup is there was mics, speakers, the whole thing. Everything looks good. The people were sitting at tables. We'd organized with the correct place after dinner, and the staff were going to walk around, and everything looked good. And then we walked into the room, and two things. One, it was a really larger room, so there was echo. It was at a weird stage, so there was tall things. And the other thing was that it was down by the water, so there were big windows, and so there was no blinds, and so there was this big echo, and I didn't know whether I should just yell or whether I should use a microphone. And there's always sometimes just going to be something that you can never think of.
Yeah, and then it's like, whose fault is it?
Sure. And I didn't do a very good job at that private, and I was thankful that the boss seemed to enjoy it, which meant everyone else enjoyed it. And then they still paid in the end, even though I think it wasn't that great, but we went all right, and I tried and put the effort in. So okay, here's another question. Do you do many events that are organized through an event company?
No, not so. I had a funny case, so there was we got an offer through an event organizer. So we did our offer. And then suddenly a random number calls me, because my number is around the places, and he asks hey, do you do this kind of, do you do birthday parties, or what about this date? I'm like, we have something, I don't know if it happens, it's in this place. That's my party. So he kind of just contacted me directly.
Oh, okay. So that alone sends huge red flags. So as to kind of to explain more for people. So what seems to have happened, if I understand, is that there's a company, they want a party. They've approached an event company, and the event company's right, fine, we're an event company. We're going to organize the catering. We're going to organize the sound. We're going to organize some entertainment, one of those being you guys. And probably what's happened is the event company has then gone back to the company and said, well, you want all these things? Here's the price.
Yeah.
And the dude's going, what? That shit shouldn't cost that much. I'll fucking find out how much it costs. And then he tries to determine, he's going to call you up and be like, well, I called fucking Martin and he only charges fucking this. There's probably some shit going on there like that, because at which case I tap out straight away. I show respect to the event companies in there. So what happened? This guy calls you?
Yeah, he calls me. And this, I don't know if it was there is a site, Estonian artist agency or something like this.
I think so. I think we might be on it. I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't think they're full event organizers. They're just
the middleman in the middle. You just go look at pictures and click, and they make a connection.
Yeah, there is a middleman. So yeah, I think he contacted me. I tell him the price. Then found out that it's the same guy. Or actually, it wasn't the same guy, because his wife did it through the event company, and he started to look for another solution. So yeah,
these sort of things are tricky, because in our game, there's us who provide the service and we have a price.
Yeah.
But there are, like all businesses, always middlemen in the middle. The Estonian Artist Agency, I know those guys. I think we're with them. I don't exactly know the way the deal works. Christina works with that, but there's some, obviously they're putting a commission on. Fine. Cool. Yeah. No worries. You talk to any event company, like we had Yolos, had Martin Ralmer from Yolos on here recently, or any event company, of course, they hire you, they're going to get you in, they pay your fee, and well, they're probably taking a commission of doing the whole thing, but you can see it as, of course they're fucking handing on a commission. It's normal. I expect it. I don't mind. So we've agreed that, look, this is our price. There's a balance there, I guess, that, look, if I say the price is 1,000 and you're selling it to the customer for 5,000,
yeah.
Well, all right, I'm going to have a bit of a problem with this, all right? I'm going to dig my fingers in.
Yeah.
But typically that's not happening.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of a crazy amount. People are not going to do that. So
I think it's around 10% or something.
Sure, whatever that might be. Because I'm a bit like, well, can you get more? Like if I have a price, let's say $1,000 rounded for whatever it is. Oh, you're really good and you can get 1,500? Cool, you're an expert salesperson who can get 1,500. You've done the negotiations. You're a really good salesperson. You know, I think maybe even you deserve that. And then I might even say, why am I not charging 1,500 then? Now, maybe I've done a broader market look and it just turns out that was a rich customer. Just turns out he was a really good salesperson. It fucking happens. Okay. I don't know if I can always, but 1,500, fine. But 5,000, all right, what's You know, what's
Yeah.
happening there.
But yeah, we do have a like host or who does weddings or like birthday parties who always recommends us. Usually it's done through him,
Sure.
but there was one case like because the the organizers wanted to contact us straight, but he gave the recommendation still, so we still paid the host. Like
That's
10%.
nice. That's good. I would say respect the hierarchy, which sounds like what you've done there.
Yeah, because like we love the recommendations, and he always hosts. We go to the parties, like no problem. It's like a good relationship or a symbiotic.
Right. Because you've got that one customer who's trying to be a cheap fuck, and so then because what I've heard of. Somewhat, not a lot, but a bit, is that the customer will go to the event company, get an offer, be like, oh shit, this costs too much, and then take the offer and then try to organize it themselves and be like, oh, I'll just contact Comedy Estonia myself, I'll contact the host themselves, I'll contact Event Tech and they do the sound, I'll do that themselves. And that's where I'm like, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. You sound like a piece of shit customer who's penny pinching to begin with. If you have a problem with that, it sounds like you're going to have a problem with many other things.
That's true.
And I would say I like to work through event companies because getting back to that point about like the 20 questions that we ask, and you can never be sure that the 20 questions are ever enough. If you work with an event company or the host or whoever it is that knows you, then they know. They'll be like, look, we've hired Comedy Estonia before and we know this doesn't work.
Yeah.
They're an extra buffer. Of course, they want the event to go off well. So they're going to understand you. They understand artists a bit better than the end customer does. So I like working through event companies. I
especially
kind of would rather have it.
Especially when you like worked multiple times. So
Yeah, they know you.
yeah. So yeah, whenever we work through him, like I trust that he knows what we need already.
Exactly, and it's worth paying him his cut. You know, look, a little shitty customer is not going to get between us. Let me give you your cut, brother. It's all right.
But have you ever like refunded a private gig, or what have the cases been?
I think Christina can probably say better than me. Look, certainly there have been some discounts over the time. Like you, we just use them as learning experiences. Like, what did we not do? What questions did we not ask? I'm trying to think, was there times when, well, the one thing that clearly comes to my mind is the one that I already made a video about that people sometimes come up with. I had an idea, I want to say even 3 years ago, which is probably not one of my better ideas, but I'm appreciative that everybody in Comedy Estonia went with it, that I wanted to advertise our private shows. So we made about 3 or 4 videos, which are called Bad Private Show Stories. And there were us telling us our worst story about that and trying to be like, I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, but the story that I told in one of those videos was working for a company, and they're one of those quick loan companies. I don't give a fuck because they're pieces of shit, and it wasn't a good event. It was like a 18, like the owner's 18-year-old son. So just a bunch of these overprivileged little 18-year-old shitheads in the south of Estonia, and like 18-year-old, and it was Karl-Erik Taurkar was gonna perform. Like me, I'm a piece of bullshit. Sure, I'll show up anywhere, but Taurkar's coming. Okay, if Taurkar's coming to your 18th birthday, fuck you. Okay, you're a rich piece of shit. And it was a very difficult event. It wasn't set up well. I tried to host. Things weren't going well. But that was and so they weren't happy with my work where I'm trying to explain like, oh, I've got a bunch of rich little 18-year-old shits who don't give a fuck about anything here. This is not, my stand-up show is not going to go well here in this place. And almost the thing that saved me was that's the one where one of these kids tried to hit me. So the story... I haven't told you this story. So the story goes, we did kind of the thing, and I was just kind of hanging around. There was some food, and this kid like off his brain. Like, here's the thing, little 18-year-old rich kid's off his brain on, I presume, on alcohol. And he walks by me and goes, "You were shit." And I was like, whoa. And he just walks by. He goes, you were shit. Just walks by. I'm like, what? And so as he's walking away, I turned around and said, hey, brother, don't worry. I love and respect you. It's cool. And okay, this, passive aggressiveness seemed to antagonize him. And he turned around and he spun around the spot and he walked to me and went, oh, hey, you coming back, brother? It's cool. And it was so weird. He put his fist up like this. Like, what does he think? He's fucking kung fu style? Like, just puts it up like this and just walks towards me like this. And it's just abstract. Look, I'm not a tough fucking guy, right? I'm gonna be like, oh, pick a fight. It's absolutely absurd. This drunk 18-year-old walking towards you, just holding a fist like this next to his face. And I'm like, what are we doing here? How does this work? And so I just sort of, mostly out of just like shock of the moment, stood there and stood my ground. And I went, because he's just like walking. And then he was about, I don't know, probably 20 centimeters away. And then he puts his fist down and walks off. And I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. And the thing that saved me was that the executive assistant lady who'd been organizing it, she was right there and she saw it all. So she saw everything. And so when I was able to complain to the boss, I went, go talk to your assistant. She fucking saw everything. So I guess, look, in a moment, I didn't complain. Here's the thing. I did not complain about it. I was like, all right, par for the course. Okay. But then they didn't want to pay me. And they were like, you did a subpar effort. Yeah. This didn't work. And I said, well, look, these were difficult circumstances and I'll prove it to you because someone tried to assault me. And if you don't believe me, go talk to your assistant. And then I think even then we settle on a percentage of the fee. So I've never been physically assaulted at an event, never had anything like that. So thanks to that dumb kid doing that dumb drunken maneuver, I had leverage over the customer. Because otherwise I'd just be like, your event was shit, it wasn't organized well, and I probably wouldn't have had a good case.
Yeah.
So it can be, with each private show, okay, the analysis of, was it us? Was it them? Was it, and why didn't we ask a question that, if it was them, fine, customers are allowed to be dumb, sure. But why didn't we then ask the correct question to avoid that scenario?
For us, the like, we can like weed out the events that don't fit us, or we can like course correct them. So now like, it's a rare case. It's a rare case now, but.
So you guys are different. So do you have? Sorry, did I cut you off?
No.
Do you have like so what we might do, even at Comedy Estonia, it might be like we can sort of identify and see like, ooh, that group of people, maybe older people, or we understand that the room is going to be spread out. It's in some larger room in the countryside or something. And then we're like, that's where we're going to send Carl or Ardo. Because Carl and Ardo, or either or of those guys, they're the serial killers. They can go in anywhere and make something happen. Ardo is good at just standing up and doing it. Carl has an amazing skill of corralling people and getting them together and then doing his lines. So we can understand sometimes that that's going to be a tougher one. Look, Ari is not going to that event. He just won't. It's not his place to do his thing. But Carl, he's right there. He's good to go. Do you have any of that sort of thinking?
No. We have like our main performers who have like the experience of doing good. But on that note, I do know, like, I'm also one of the performers who like I take on the harder cases and so on. But they are like, the energy level of the audience like also matters since ours like it's an improv show. So if we perform for kids, it's totally different than we perform like for like 80-year-olds, because we know like 80-year-olds might not understand what the fuck we are doing. So we like go with a more subtle energy there. We're like, hey, we're gonna explain more. Get its thing like more slowly. But with kids, we're like, hey kids, like, yeah, let me come on stage. Like, come on stage. Be a bear. Nice show.
So have you had look, I came pretty close to identifying the customer in the last one because I don't like him very much. But let's say we're showing more respect to our customers in your case. So without identifying your customer, though, is there a particular example that you found difficult recently where the customer felt that they didn't get what they wanted?
I think the most recent one was, oh my God. There are two cases. One was we did and it was like years back. It was years back now. We did a show at in Tartu, the erinevate tubade klubi.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, we don't need microphones.
That's a long room. That's a big room.
That's a long room. And if there are like 200 people there, like our voices did not reach to the back of it, no matter how we yelled. So we like trying to adjust in the middle of it. We like went to the middle of the room, like we're going to perform here, like doing all crazy shit. After that, we're like, all right, that didn't go well. That was bad. Get the microphones next time. So every time there's a event there, now I know, like, if it's for 50 people, no problem. We can do it without microphones, get everyone up close. We tell it, like, we can't have any other activities there at the same time we perform. Everyone's there, like, and the events have gone well. But that one, like, didn't go good. But in that particular case, we did, like, we still got paid full. So
right. Sometimes the customers get it. Sometimes, and look, I would say most of the time the customers get it.
Yeah.
Most of the times they're cool. They understand. They, things are all right. So, not to, we're talking negatives about here, about, the business here. Like, mostly not. Mostly things are good. So that's cool.
But then there was a case, like, and that is the most recent one. And I also wasn't at the show, but it was a customer coming to our Barprov show. And like he was like wondering whether to order or not. Mm-hmm. So we usually have when we had ticket shows at One Graal, we'll get them there, and there they see the like a ticket show more like refined or so, better. Like like we have the sound guy, we have the all the things is like more neat. But he or she, I don't know. Let's call him he for now. But he came to the Barprov show, like didn't like it at all. And we're like, well, that's a free show. But he didn't order us
in the end because he didn't like the Barprov show.
Yeah.
Well, look, I guess with any company, it's going to happen. People are going to see some example of what you do, and maybe I'm driving down the street and some dude in a fucking, I don't know, a Toyota cuts me off, and now I'm like, fuck Toyota. Things like that. I don't know. So, so there's the thing. If someone comes to see your live show and doesn't like it, it can be. And the difficulties there is you need the Barprovs is something like the Comedy Estonia open mics. It really has to be a place where it's low pressure and we're trying and testing, because that development of the artist is more important than, on one night, some guy might be there and might not book us. Sure. And having said that, mostly Rutakume, Barprov and Comedy Estonia open mics are pretty reasonable shows.
Yeah.
I
think people enjoy them.
I get a little bit of one thing Christina tells me about is that sometimes people they go, I want Sander. And then we're like, well, that's the night Sander's performing in the theater, so he can't come to your show, unfortunately. Like, well, I don't want anyone else. I'm like, oh, really? No one else? Really? Artado's a killer. You don't want him, really? Nobody else could possibly satisfy you? So often people, I guess that's another example of having their own prejudices and their own things. But okay, sorry, more than just one comedian. We've had, I would even say numerous examples in the last weeks and months where customers just do not want a woman.
Customer doesn't want a woman.
Does not want a woman. And I'll go out on a real friggin' ledge here. In all the situations, the person buying is a woman.
Oh.
And what we will do is, now having said that, we've got great performers like Ann Vida, like Tatiana, who are doing shows and do great, right? You know, they're awesome. So there's no question about how good Ann Vida is. She is a fucking serial killer, straight up. She's getting really good. She's getting prepared for her first hour. There's no doubt in my mind in the quality of Ann or in Tatiana. And sometimes people just go, no, we don't want a woman. And there's even cases where Christina's like, well, you know, we can offer 15-minute, 2 comedians doing 15 minutes each. One will be, I don't know, Ardo, the other one will be Tatiana. And they'll be like, no, we don't want the woman. And they're like, huh? And there'll be cases then, even then, where we say, hey, Ardo's doing the 25 minutes, but hey, we like to send 2 performers just because it's more fun for them. And so free of charge, absolutely free of charge, we'll send a comedian to do 5-minute opener for that person. And if we say it's a woman, people say, no, don't want it. Like, it's fucking free. It's an opener. And they still refuse to believe that the woman could be good.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I can only imagine how much Christina's. I mean, these are customers. This is a woman talking to Christina, who is, as you can guess, also a woman. So I can only imagine how much Christina's blood boils.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. But I think women like men more than.
Yeah, I mean, some. We've had one cases where it's like, look, it's a room full of factory workers. Fine. Like, I hear you out on that one, right? In that case, you know, it's a room full of Russian factory workers. Send in Alexander Popov. Okay, I get it, right? But these were like really regular parties, really regular. It wasn't some shit like that, you know. And even then, you know, sometimes they're all right with it, you know. Cool. I would say the party full of factory workers who are all men are actually the ones who are not really a problem here.
Yeah.
So
be the organizer. Yeah.
Yeah. But you do, okay, so because in a typical private event, how many of you are going? You and whoever?
It's usually with 2 people.
Just 2? Okay.
2 people, yeah.
Or is there any females on your core rotation who could be in that?
Well, the main, like me and Durma are doing near South Estonia and Rauno and Toivo are doing like North Estonia.
Oh, okay. I like it. Okay.
So usually it's like this, but some cases either like Rauno is busy or whatever, so we need to get some other people, and then we're like, hey, then we do have like women also in the pool of talent.
Has it ever been an issue?
Never. We don't like say who's coming.
Yeah, okay, that might be more of a thing.
We're like 2 people. You don't know who you get. I think like also in improv, I don't know how's in stand-up, but since improv is like, we're gonna make things up on the spot, and they're like, what? It doesn't sound good. So yeah. Actually I have another question though, even more interesting, because sometimes private events want to like the jokes or the things go into a certain theme, whatever theme they have, and we've like understood that like the most important thing actually is a good show. At the end of the day, nobody really cares how many engineering jokes.
Did you do golf jokes? Fuck yeah.
So we'll just like the way we like tackled around it was, since we like engage the audience and ask inspiration, the only thing that if they need that we incorporate a certain theme, which our questions to the audience are in that theme. Like all the creative things and improv things are like whatever we do. So that's how we're like.
Has there been a situation where the customer said we want that, and you've explained, you said, look, here's how it works, we'll make it up, we're going to ask leading questions about engineering or about golf or whatever it is, and the customer still be like, no, it wasn't golfy enough.
Never.
Okay, that's all right.
Really, they ask a theme, I say, no problem. I will make it theme. We'll ask and engage them in this way, and like the show is good, everyone is happy. Like nobody really cares how many golf jokes you did.
Ultimately, not. And that's one of the, again, back to the idea that there's always an organizer, and they have particular ideas. And also, as much as we kind of, I guess, in some ways have been shitting on event organizers here, I kind of get that. When you're the event organizer for your company, there is a bit of pressure on you because you kind of get to pick the band. You get to pick the entertainment and the host. And if that stuff's shit, it's on you.
Yeah.
Because I know that we've had other parties where the event organizer really likes Comedy Estonia. Great. I'm very happy for that. No one in the rest of the company likes Comedy Estonia. But it's been difficult because the event organizer likes it. Now, in that case, it's not so bad because we did our thing. The event organizer gets it. We get paid, I guess. I also don't want to make out like we'll just do anything for money. That's also not it, If we've done the thing, we would like to get paid, but ultimately try to not do it. So, okay, so a topic hasn't been an issue for you guys?
But there has been a thing, like they asked for a sketch show. And we've done a sketch shows, but sketch are a lot of work. They're a lot of work, and we charge way much more. So, for example, there was some youth center birthday something. So I did an interview with jailman, police officers, so to get what are the cases with the youth, to get all the themes, wrote some sketches, did all the things, did the show, went good. Nice, but it's too much work. And then there was a case all right, I think it was for a political party. They asked we need those political sketches. We're all right, I think we asked we want this amount. It probably will go 2,000 euros. So because it's that much work. Can you do it cheaper? No, not really. We have 200 euros. Well, I guess we can just get premises and no writing and rehearsing. So we did that. Did not go good. Because it's a sketch show and we didn't put in the effort. We put the effort of 200 euros for a sketch things, but for a quality things.
So and that one's on you guys.
Yeah, that's from an experience. Now we know if you don't have the time, if you don't have the money, we won't put in the time, and the results won't be good. We'd rather do a quality improv show. We'll engage them in this way to get the theme going, and everyone is happy.
I think it's a common thing as well with freelancers for many things, whether that's art or graphic design or many other things, that the customers who don't have a large budget, who don't have small money, they're often the most difficult. And it's the customers who have a lot of money who are yeah, that's cool, no problems, everything's fine. And I can feel it myself when there's a disconnect between when you're buying something and you're oh shit, this shit's really expensive. But I need it, I should get it. But fuck, that item, that product is so expensive. You're that I'm gonna buy that item. I'm gonna buy that camera. We were just talking about I got a camera. I got a Sony ZV-1, 700 euros. That's the recommended retail price. And I'm fuck, that's a lot for a camera, But when it comes to cameras, that's cheap. In the world of cameras, in the world of what it offers, that's cheap. Yeah, so I save up all my pennies. I get my Sony ZV-1 for $700, and then I'm this fucking thing doesn't do that. It doesn't do that thing. It does it because I feel like I'm spending so much money on this, where the marketplace says, no, you're actually buying the entry-level model. Yeah. So there's a disconnect between my expectation and you as the provider's expectation, and that's tricky disco.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So if the customer starts wanting for discounts, it's not necessarily a red flag, back the fuck off, but there can be a difficulty there because they're gonna,
We usually don't offer sketch shows anymore. So there's too much hassle. We'll just do the improv thing.
Sure, people ask, can we write custom stand-up about their topic, their company, their thing, and we're well, look, stand-up, we have to explain to them, okay, the sets that are being done are sets. They are already worked out, already being done, because this is not the comedy club. This is not the nice, there's not nice bar service, and it's not a Thursday night out and you're feeling happy and a little bit drunk. No, this is your fucking company party. There's harsh lights. We're being forced on at exactly 8:30. We can't just come with the blah, 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 ha, ha, ha. We've got to come with the goods. We've got to come with a really solid set that we know will work, that we know will work for your company people and not offend people and not. and all this. So that takes a long time to work that out. Now, if you want to pay for Artador to write all those jokes again, look, maybe, but that's still going to take him a long time and going to cost you money.
Have you ever like done it, this kind of thing, like write for this? Like for this event, we'll write those jokes and like
again very early on, bits and pieces. We quickly worked out that that's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
We, the way that we have dealt with this is that we have Christina Lokivi, who is our sales manager at Comedy Estonia. She's very good at her job, and one of the ways that she's very good at her job is she knows each performer and she knows what they do, their style, many of their sets. She's been to a lot of shows. She's like, oh, I see a new set. Oh, I know Artador's got that bit. I know Carl's got that bit. And not only that, and then even with our performers, Carl in particular, like Carl will quite meticulously lay out all his bits. Artador as well. Here's all the bits that I've got. And so Christina knows all of Carl's bits. Carl and Art are the best example, knows all of Artador's bits that he could do. And so she can be like, oh, you want to, you're the police and you want to think about that or whatever. Like, yeah, you know what? I really think Artador can do something. He's not going to write jokes for you, but I believe that he's got a set that'll be very compatible with you, that will really work for your audience. And she can even, I'm not saying give them examples. She's not reading off the paper, but she knows the bit enough to sort of say the general topics. Mm-hmm. And so that's the limit that we can go to. So and then, because the last thing you ever want to do especially to a stand-up comedian, is tell them what bits to do. But there's like an understanding in that relationship between sales manager and comedian, like, hey, I've talked to these guys. I think you should do that bit, this, go that. And the comedians, when they're agreeing, like, yeah, okay, that's what I'll do there. But it's a fuck ton of work and certainly requires a very in-depth sales manager. Mm-hmm. I mean, like any salesperson, they have to know what they're selling.
That's true.
And she has a very in-depth knowledge of what she's selling, I think. But that's even more difficult for you guys because who knows what's being sold?
Yeah, who knows? Nobody knows what we're doing. Yeah, usually somebody saw us, but yeah. Our like sets differ, mainly age group differences are, I think, the biggest things, or the stage. If we do a like larger stage show, like let's say 300 people, then I don't think that our regular improv works so well, because like there are people in the back, they don't see so well. Sure. Doing like this scenic thing with maybe a bit slower thing, like
I also wouldn't want to do 300 seat show stand up.
Then we just usually do well, for example, like there were like Hansapäeva, the Tartu, like public thing. We were on stage with a microphone. We rather do like rapping games and non-scenic things, or like pun games with puns. We'll do those things, and we say like it's 30 minutes max, not longer for sure, or 20 minutes, because that's how long it can sustain itself. So yeah, with experience. With experience, you'll like slowly figure out, and as you said or I said, that you reflect on the shows that went badly, like, okay, what can we do differently? How can we make it work in this case? So yeah. And for kids, we do more movement games.
So you do younger audiences. Tell us about these younger audiences.
So yeah, they're a ton of fun if you're willing to let go of your expectations how the show should be, because sometimes they like run on stage. There was a show, like we're doing it, they're like families, I guess, kids and like older people, and there's like a kid who runs to the stage and brings us sticks, just piles them in a thing. So like, fine, let's corporate him in the show. Like, there's a guy living in the woods, building his house, and like, audience loves it. The kids, yay, bringing sticks, like no problem. Or like, yeah, if kids like love to participate on the stage, but we can't offer them too hard tasks,
sure,
because they're kids, they don't think so fast. So we'll have like simpler games for them if they really want to come to the stage and do that.
So you've got, there's times when you've been booked and it's like, yeah, this is going to be a younger audience. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
And we're like, sure, we'll do the kids.
What are some of the examples? Like what was the gathering? What was the event?
There have been like youth centers, birthdays. Then was I think the particular thing was where the kid just ran and brought us sticks on stage. It was I think Tartu Loodusmaja, like there was like an opening day of that. So like families with their kids were there watching the show. And schools like is it elementary? I think it's elementary, high school, elementary.
Yeah, that's an American thing as well. I don't quite have that in Australia, but sure, elementary. That sounds like a thing.
Yeah, first to fourth grade, I guess. So yeah.
Oh, first to fourth grade. So like straight up, like I mean, first is like they've been in for like 1 year or something. You mean that like 2 years or something?
Like 7-year-olds to like 9.
Yeah, right.
But we do to like when we perform to schools. I haven't done that actually in a long time. Should start selling ourselves to schools again. But we do like to separate the age groups. So like 1 to 4th, I don't know, 5 to 9, and high school. So
that makes sense
because they like different things. For 1 to 4th-year-old, you will fall down the chairs and they go bananas. They're like, what? He fell down from a chair. Oh, so funny. And the high school ones are like, that's not funny.
Yeah, of course. Right.
But yeah, the hardest one is if they're like, for example, there was like a show for a whole school, like 700 people. Like, try to maneuver that. Let's fall down on this scene, and next one we'll do a rappy thing.
Wow. Maybe this is where the reputation of Comedy Estonia as being too dirty is playing to our advantage because we don't get asked to play 700 seats at a school.
Yeah.
Or something. Sander will go to a school and do like a workshop or talk to them about stand-up, talk to them about his career. He's really into that. He's very enthusiastic to talk to the kids about comedy and art as a career and how to do that, but not straight up stand-up. Know that Sander, when he talks, he's funny and incorporates some of his bits and, very organically into the talk, but it's not, stand up like straight up, here's a stand up set. So very good, you guys.
Yeah, we can do it clean.
So are there sets? So, okay, have you had private shows where the customer said, we're not going to pay?
Yes, there has been for sure. There has been. I can remember one thing because I was organizing it and I didn't perform on that event. So I asked the performers, how did you feel? They said it was okay. Nothing especially bad happened. But the organizer was nobody laughed or nobody was paying attention or wasn't happy with it. But I don't know, man. So we just settled on a discount on that particular case.
It can be tough because on one hand, yes, we want to keep the customer happy. Of course, that's a very important thing. On the other hand, it's why are you complaining? Do we think that you have a valid complaint? And was it something that we didn't do or something in the act?
Yeah, it is something you promised comedy. I didn't laugh.
Yeah, okay.
It's subjective, I guess.
Yeah, right. Did the comedian, at least for us, did the comedian do their act? Do we know that's an established act that they do? Did they perform that? Did they, did we take... I don't know. Were people running around or were there other distractions or was it not laid out well? But I don't think anyone's not wanted to pay for a while.
Yeah, same here.
So that bit's not too bad. I don't know. You still get it. Sometimes a discount, some people not happy. And I also understand in stand-up, it can happen. Sometimes, Carl and Ardadol can do their act, but sometimes it just doesn't. Sometimes... We also do understand that sometimes it just doesn't work. That is the nature of art.
Yeah.
That we are going there and doing a creative thing to those people and just sometimes it just won't work. and the artist is an artist. So, again, we know Carl and Ardo, very straight up and down, very solid, very experienced at knowing how to do that. And even little things like when we get there, we're like, often we'll be like, look, we did the 20 questions. We understand that the 20 questions don't cover everything. So when we get there, we're like, all right, here's the deal. We got to turn this room around. We got to do this. We need the lights. Host man, I need you to say this. I'm going to go talk to the sound guy, blah, blah, blah. So also our comedians, I think, understand the limits to what they can change. Like they will push or, to in a polite way, of course, but hey, I need this changed. I need this.
I think improv is more lenient. If that's a word.
Definitely. And it's an excellent word. Not to cut you off,
nice.
because stand up is more lenient. Where I do think improv is more lenient. Stand up comedy is very fragile. It is a very fragile art form. We need very specific circumstances to make our art form work. And when it writes, we think that it's pretty killer, but if things are off, the lights are off, the set, there's a distraction, there's a kid running across, the people aren't laid out, they're still eating, 100 things that could be off. No, our art form no longer works.
Yeah, we can have like a kid walking through and we're like, whatever the scene is, we can like justify it. And the kid is part of the show. There was one case when we were doing sketches. I want to share that story. Maybe you'll have a similar experience. But there was they ordered a sketch. So we had to write what is called Aquarius and Lion and
the star signs.
Yeah, we had to write things like, Aquarius, you'll feel bad because the Mars So we had to write those and like funny
star signs.
Funny star signs. So, and there was the setup was that there are 4 different fortune tellers who each tells star signs. So 4 times 12 is like 48 texts, and we're
jokes.
like, that's too long.
48 jokes you have to write.
Or even more, because one there are like a paragraph. There's a paragraph, like, that's too long. Nobody wants to watch that. But the organizer was, yes, they do. They do want to watch it. We're like, I guess if you're paying. So we wrote, the whole thing took like an hour to like watch. They were on like this we read them in. The whole thing was in for an hour. Run. You hear your star sign 4 times. I don't think it worked. I don't think it worked. It's like everybody got bored after 20 minutes. What we kind of tell that just every star sign once, whoever the fortune teller is, that's enough. But like the organizer was, no, we want them all. Most of the audience member are females and they do like star signs. And we're like, yeah, but they are like really made up.
So what was your takeaway from that event that you learnt that now we need to be strict on?
Let's not do sketches. Okay. But it was like a particular case because the organizer didn't trust our opinion that it's not that good. It's not a good idea to do this. But like then again, she's paying us and she's taking the responsibility. Like she was an event organizer in a sense, and she was like taking the responsibility of it. So, but
I would then even say, Martin, that you didn't trust you because you still went with it.
That's true.
That there's a point now, and now hopefully you've learnt that trust in yourself to be like, no, an hour is going to suck.
Yeah.
And the organizer's like, no, it's going to be good. And like, no, like we're going to, unfortunately, we're going to be polite, but we're going to walk away from this because we think that an hour isn't going to do it. We only do 30 minutes max. Because we're like, of course, people come to a party, they want to talk, drink, feel up their colleague, get a sexual assault harassment case on Monday, have a drink, watch a show, 20 minutes, ha ha ha, laugh, 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 done. I'm back to my talking. In a party, people don't want an hour. in their party. They want to fucking talk to each other and have a party. Yeah. So rarely do we go over 30, and it has to be extremely precise. You know, why are we going over 40? Why 30? You know, why is this a 45-minute show? It can be like, oh, we're all the San Rodriguez fan club and we've booked like a nice room and we want him like, oh, okay. Well, sure, that sounds pretty reasonable. But the company party for 45 minutes, no one wants 45 minutes of anything. At a company party.
We usually do 45 minutes.
Oh, really?
we do. Unless there are like, if we go on late, like 11 o'clock, which we do not like because everyone's drunk already, then definitely not over 30. There's like, there was like a show on New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay.
Because like that's when you ordered like a midnight show, right? And we usually have done for this particular host, we've done like multiple cases. We do usually 45 minutes, but in this case, like audience was super drunk. They're like middle of our show, let's do another drink. Like we like get minimum, we get minimum attention. We're like, there's no reason to do it over 30. Like it won't hold. So we ended at 30, and he was like, why didn't you do 45? Like, did you see the audience?
But again, like,
now we know.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know. Now we're only doing 30. Yeah.
That's the case. But our favorite audience is like a small. It's weird. It's weird. For a public show, you want lots of audience. For a private gig, we feel the less the better. Sure. If it's like a birthday party, 20 people, that's awesome.
Yeah, great. Especially because 20 people, you're doing no microphone. Well, especially for you guys.
Yeah.
That I love doing stand up without a microphone in someone's. Like some of our best gigs, and I know Sando will say this, Carl will say this, some of our best ones were like, come to where the birthday party, it's the guy's 30th birthday, so okay, they've got some money, we have a nice place, you're going to do it in the lounge room. And at first you'd be like, what the fuck? We're doing the stand-up in the lounge room? But we've actually learnt, the opposite example of an event that you think might not be very good, but then we've done a number of them and they all literally turn out really well. We're standing there in our shoes because it's Estonia, you know, you wear your shoes inside. I'm standing in someone's lounge room, it's the 30th birthday. Sure, you talk about, you've come already, you're feeling a bit awkward because it's a party and everyone's there and you're at a really small private party, but people are nice to you and you have a couple of the free drinks and the people are there and they're all fun, they're friends and they're having a good time. They're like, the comedian's here, he's gonna do 20 minutes. And especially without a microphone, there's much more connection. Yeah,
that's sure. Yeah, I love performing without a microphone.
Yeah.
It's, feedback is better.
It is. Whew, should we wrap up soon? We got to go
we
do
gotta
a show.
Yeah.
Vascavetti show, best of open mic. Martin's performing tonight.
I'm excited and nervous because I couldn't hold myself back and I had to write new material.
Martin, if you were any other comedian, I'd throw you off the fucking show right now. I would be like, what? Oh my God. Oh my God, it's fine. It's fine.
It's a free show.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, true. Fuck you, free show. It's all right. See, you're different. You have so much comedy experience that I let you. You're a different one. Anyone else, I would be strangling them fucking right now.
Special case.
Why are you doing? Oh my God.
Practice my material. I'm like a flash of inspiration. New joke. So 30% are new jokes.
All right, let's do it. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thanks for coming in, Martin.
Thanks for having me.
All right. See y'all next time.
Bye.